Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering unboxing. In an earlier video I unboxed the new dual deck, the Izzet versus Golgari dual deck. So I thought what would be interesting is to look back to the original Ravnica Block, and as luck would have it, I happen to have a couple of theme decks from there which I'd not opened. And one's the Golgari Deathcreep from that block, specifically the Ravnica set, and the other is Izzet Gizmometry, I think that is, Gizmometry from the Guildpact set within the same Ravnica block. So it'd be interesting to see what was in these decks when you compare it against what was in the recent dual deck that's just been released. So let's open these up. So these were what were called theme decks. So effectively these were rather like modern intro decks, intro packs, but you didn't get the booster with it. You just got the A60 card, or in some cases a A40 card deck. So I'm just going to look at the back here. So this also uses dredge, so obviously like the newer deck. So let's just open this up. So as always, the ever-present how to play, or in this case, yeah, how to specifically play this deck. With these sort of theme decks, it gave you a bit of a background story as well, and mentioned things like hybrid cards, convoke, transmute, radiance, and dredge. And then on the flip side, you actually have the deck contents and how to play the deck. It's obviously very similar to the dual decks insert. So let's zoom in on this, see what we have. So we've firstly got our mana base, so we'll just flick through this. I should have kept out the land for the dual deck actually, because then I could have checked. This looks actually pretty much similar, if not identical, to that land, so that's I think answered my question. So not surprisingly, in this one again it's black green mana base. Let's quickly go through here. It's 11 swamps, 11 forest, and then there are a few non-basic lands which we'll be coming onto in a moment. Okay, so we got a Golgari rot farm in this. So it comes into play tapped. When comes into play, you have to return a land you control to its owner's hand, and you can tap it to add black-green to your mana pool. Then we've got Svogthos the Restless Tomb, which was also in the new deck. It's a land, you add 1 colour to your mana pool, and for 3 black-green until end of turn, this becomes a black and green plant zombie creature. With this, creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. It's still a land, so obviously within the strategy this works really well, because hopefully your graveyard is going to be full of stuff, full of creature cards. Thought Picker Witch. So we may now move on to our creatures. We've got Infectious Host, 2 of those. Stinkweed Imp. So with these cards, this obviously would have been pulling from the particular block. There's another Stinkweed Imp here. So we're going to get a different selection of cards, whereas in the dual deck, the Golgari deck would be pulling from cards from throughout Magic. So this is just pulling from cards within the particular Ravnica block. Elves of Deep Shadow, 2 of those. Elvish Sky Sweeper, Golgari Brown Scale, 2 of those, Greater Moss Dog, I believe there was one of those, there's 2 of these in this particular, actually 3 in this deck. Also a Golgari Grave Troll, this is our rare, 4 and a green, 0/0. Golgari Grave Troll comes into play with a +1/+1 counter on it. For each creature card in your graveyard, one colourless, remove a +1/+1 counter from Golgari Grave Troll, regenerate Golgari Grave Troll. And this has, if you remember, Dredge 6 on it. We've got multicoloured card here, Savra, Queen of the Golgari. So I suppose this is our sort of key, one of our key cards in the deck here. So this is a legendary creature, Elf Shaman. It's a rare 2/2, costs 2 black green to cast. Whenever you sacrifice a black creature, you may pay 2 life. If you do, each other player sacrifices a creature. Whenever you sacrifice a green creature, you may gain 2 life. Shambling Shell, 2 of those. A Woodwraith Strangler, which is also a plant zombie. And there's 2 of those. Golgari Rotworm, 2 of those. Drooling Grudoin, I think that is, however you say that. And there's 2 of those. Golgari Guildmage. So here we have this sort of hybrid mana where you can play black or green, black or green. Dark Blast. So this is a removal here. We can really get rid of any 1/1s here. This target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, and it also has Dredge 3 on it. So here's the description of Dredge again. If you would draw a card instead, you may put exactly 3 cards from the top of your library into your graveyard. If you do, return this card from your graveyard to your hand, otherwise draw a card. So the value after the Dredge equates to how many cards. And there's 2 of those. There's also Last Gasp in here. So this is -3/-3. And there's 2 of those. Necromantic Thirst. So this enchants a creature. Vigor Mortis. I believe that was also in the other Golgari deck. Moldavine Cloak. Other enchantment. Recollect. 2 of those. Rolling Spoil. Putrefy. And also what happened with these theme decks, which I forgot to mention, is they also came, and these weren't intended as part of the deck, this was just a bonus card, so it's not included in the 60 cards, was a foil land, basically. Foil basic land. And then you also get one of these stats cards for a player. So that's our Golgari Deathcreep deck. Some similar cards in there. Obviously same sort of mechanic. We're using Dredge. So let's have a look at the Izzet Gizmometry. Right. This now. Okay, I'm just going to quickly look at this. So these are Let's just move this back a bit. Okay, so for Guildpact, which is the particular set within the Ravnica Block that this came from, it also describes certain key mechanisms, mechanics, keywords: ley lines, haunt, replicate, and bloodthirst. And there's the deck list. So this one's got 12 islands, 10 mountains, and some non-basic land in it. And again, rather like the deck in the dual decks, there's a lot more sort of non-creature spells in this. And we'll just see, I'm just looking down and see, yes, again, this is very much based around the replicate mechanism here. So nearly all the creatures in the deck reward you when you play instants and sorceries. So same thing, but just a different pool of cards to draw from, because obviously this would be purely drawing from within the particular block. Okay. In fact, because this came from Guildpact, I can't remember the order, but of course it would only pull from that current set or the set before in the block. Okay, so we just skip through these. So you can just get a quick look at this artwork. And again, like I said, I think it's pretty much identical. Blue-red deck, so obviously a combination of control and aspects of burning here, direct damage. Okay, so here's our non-basic lands. Izzet Boilerworks, so it comes into play tapped. When Izzet Boilerworks comes into play, return a land you control to its owner's hand, tap it, add blue-red to your mana pool, and there's 2 of those in the deck. Nivik's Area of the Firemind. So this was also in that other deck, in the other Izzet deck, in the dual decks. Non-basic land, tap, add 1 to your mana pool, 2 blue-red, tap, remove the top card of your library from the game. Until your next turn you may play that card if it's an instant or sorcery. So now we move on to the sort of actual non-land part of the deck. So we got Gelectrode, creature weird, Wee Dragonauts, so we've seen some of these before. There's 2 of those. Tibor and start again. Tibor and Lumia. So this is legendary creature, human wizard. Whenever you play a blue card, target creature gains flying until end of turn. When you play a red spell, Tibor and Lumia deals 1 damage to each creature without flying. So that's a rare that's in here. 3/3 for 2 colourless, a blue and a red. Izzet Chronarch. 2 of those. We've got an Izzet Guildmage in here. Petrahydrox, another creature weird. 2 of those. And now we just move on to the non-creature cards. Mark of Eviction. That's an enchantment. Peel from Reality. 2 of those. Telling Time. 2 of those. Train of Thought. So this has got Replicate on it. Replicate 1 on blue. When you play the spell, copy it for each time you paid its replicate cost. Draw a card. 3 Train of Thoughts in there. Convolute, counter spell here. Rune Boggle, another counter spell with card draw on it. 2 of those. Thunderheads, that's also got a replicate on it. 2 of those. Vacuum Melt, another replicate attached to that sorcery. It can be used to return target creature to its owner's hand. Frazzle, another counter spell, targets non-blue spells. 2 of those. Repeal, so counter spell and card draw. 2 of those. Pyromatics, so this is a direct damage, 1 and a red for dealing 1 damage, but it has replicate on it, so for 1 and a red you get to replicate this. And there's 3 of those. Rain of Embers, another damage. Rain of Embers deals 1 damage to each creature and each player, 1 and a red. Reroute, so you can use this to change the target of a target activated ability, as long as it's a single target, and draw a card. Leyline of Lightning, so this is a rare, 2 and 2 red enchantment. If Leyline of Lightning is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it in play. So if you played, you would see these ley lines in other more recent sets. And this particular thing about, if it's in your opening hand, then you can have it in play. Whenever you play a spell, you may pay 1 colourless. If you do, Leyline of Lightning deals 1 damage to target player. Electrolyze, blue-red, 1 blue-red damage spell, and also card draw on it. And our extra sort of goodie here is a foil forest. And then we have our stats card. Okay, so that one was our Izzet Gizmometry deck. Got it right eventually, which was blue-red. And that was in contrast to the Golgari Deathcreep deck. So if you haven't done already, obviously check out the dual decks video that I did, which is in effect a sort of modern version of these 2 decks. Okay, thanks for watching.